muchas novias, hoy tengo una, mañana otra, ey, pero no hay política. Me pregunto si tengo muchas novias, hoy tengo una, mañana otra. Me la voy a llevar a todas con VIP, ey, saludos a mis tíos, vamos a tirar un selfie, selfies, esta mañana pierden las tías, VIP, ey, saludos a mis tíos, vamos a tirar un selfie, selfies, esta mañana que hice tirar una, me gusta mucho la cabrera, la Patricia, la Nicole, la Sofía, mi primera novia, el Kinder, María, mi primer amor, se llamaba Talía, tengo una colombiana que me escribe todos los días, y una mexicana que ni yo sabía, otra enseñando que me entiende todavía, y la TPR que estoy pasando mía, una dominicana que Cuba, la de Barcelona, que vino en avión, y dice que mi bicho está cabrón, yo dejo que juegue con mi corazón, quisiera mudarme con toda por una mansión, y si esto me gusta te envío la invitación, muchacho de la hey, Titi me preguntó si tengo muchas novias, tengo una, tengo otra, hey, bueno, no hay duda, Titi me preguntó si tengo muchas novias, hey, muchas novias, hoy tengo una, mañana otra, Titi me preguntó,
Ladies and gentlemen, it's time to meet the international referees for the match. The first referee from Dominican Republic, Jeffrey Moreno. And the second referee from Puerto Rico, Jose Guzman. All right, volleyball fans, it is time to meet the starting lineups, and we're kicking things off with Team Barbados. Starting with number 6, Enrico Brown. Number 12, Jordan Isaiah John. Captain, number 14, Pierre Gill. Number 16, Ja'Cory Davis. Number 18, Kaylin Applewhite. Number 19, Joshua Ashby. And starting libero, number 11, Mikhail Gooding. All right, volleyball fans, now it's time to meet our starting lineup for Team Mexico. Starting with number 5, Diego Ibarra. Number 7, Jorge Andres Ramirez Franco. Number 10, David Santiago Regalena. Number 17, Oscar de Jesus Gonzalez Gomez. Number 18, Francisco Sebastian Merino Romero. Number 19, Leonardo Abraham Cruz Figueroa. And starting libero, number 1, Patricio Acosta Alfredo. Head coach is Jose Laz.
Good evening and welcome to Simon Fraser University. We are way up on Burnaby Mountain. This is the 2026 NORCECA U19 Boys Continental Cup. And this is match number 3 of the day. It is Mexico taking on Barbados. The Mexicans and the team from Barbados both playing quick matches yesterday. Mexico winning in straight sets and Barbados falling to Canada in straight sets. And we are officially underway at 6 o'clock Pacific. Thank you so much for joining us live on CBC Sports. Slightly different starting lineup for Barbados going into this match number 2 of the tournament. That will be a right side swing with Brisado picking up the kill for Mexico. Now for Mexico, the first serve going to the setter, Figueroa. Back onto the Mexican side. Some sloppy play on both sides, and this will be a Barbados point, so one and done serving for the setter, Figueroa, who is in the back row for Mexico. 3 attackers at the net for Team Mexico. Off the Pierre serve. This will drop into a wide open spot in the backcourt. Point for Mexico, a team that was impressive in a straight sets win over Costa Rica to start off this tournament. Here's Marino Romero with his first serve of this Wednesday night, day number 2 of the tournament. John, you could hear the sound of that, an ugly one. So back-to-back points for Mexico, with the Mexican team sitting at 1-0, and they're up 3-1 in the early stages of this one. Tim James with you live on CBC Sports, broadcasting on YouTube. Great to have you with us. Romero, powerful serve. Right side attacks and down the line. 3 blockers are going up for Mexico, but despite that, it will be a Barbados point. And Barbados was hanging out with Canada at the start of yesterday's matchup. The Canadians making a number of mistakes. Eventually, they'd find that chemistry and would go on to win in straight sets. Standing serve from Davis. There's the middle run and done. Diego Ibarra picking up the kill for Mexico. The Mexican fans getting the cheer going. Even the Mexican bench was going here. They bring some great energy. Ugly serve handled by Barbados. Now John going up with a roll shot. Picked up but taken by the setter. So out of system. Mexico going to work, and that's going to be launched out of play. No touch point for Barbados. If you want to see a photo of some of the Mexican fans, you can go to my Instagram. I've posted a photo on my story, timjamesmedia.ca. That is the name of the username. And you can find a photo again of some of the Mexican fans wearing the luchador masks. Unbelievable back row attack, and no chance for the libero, Mikhail Gooding. Gooding getting to start today. You can see him in the white jersey on the Barbados side. Couldn't get underneath that one, as yesterday was Liam Yearwood who got the start at libero for Barbados, but eventually was taken out, with Gooding coming in. Here's the middle run. Mexico unsuccessfully unable to play that off the net. It will be a lift and a point for Barbados. This brings up John for his first serve on this Wednesday. Figueroa going over to the right side, and that will be launched out. Just wanted to confirm there was indeed no touch. We're tied at 5. Figueroa with one hand getting that over to the left side. That was tipped over by Gonzalez. Will it be Gonzalez again? Yes, second time he's going to go off the net. The block getting up there, but didn't matter as that cleanly goes into the net. Point for Barbados. And again, this is similar to what we saw yesterday with Barbados taking advantage of errors made by arguably a very talented side. And that would be, in this case, Mexico. Yesterday it was Canada. Figueroa. This time it's out of the back. Romero. Marino Romero was so impressive yesterday. So after 3 straight points for Barbados, you can see Figueroa going to Romero. And just some separation with a couple of blockers going up for Barbados. Quick side out for Barbados once again. And again, this is looking similar to what we saw yesterday. But perhaps if you were a Mexican fan, just wait for Romero to warm up. Figueroa, big push over to Romero, taking a position 6. There's Pierre going hard off the block to score. The Barbados fans, I feel bad, didn't take a photo with them before this matchup. They don't have the wrestling masks, but they're making some noise here as well. Here's a big push. Romero looking to go down the line with the line shot. Picks up the kill, this side out. And Mexico is down by 1. Capacity of this gymnasium here at Simon Fraser University, about 500 to 600. Maybe we have 100 to 200 fans here. It is a smaller crowd. Likely will get bigger with Canada still to come. Playing against Costa Rica. Gooding was able to get under that ball with the dig. Barbados able to make an attack, and this will drop and score. So some good defense coming from the libero Gooding, wearing the white jersey on the Barbados side. And if you haven't figured it out by now, Barbados in those bright yellow jerseys on the right side of your screen. Mexico today wearing the white jerseys with the black shoulders and the Mexican flag also above the number. Cruz Figueroa out of sync, and Mexico will take a timeout. Maybe something we didn't expect going into this one, considering the Mexicans won in straight sets yesterday over Costa Rica and looked impressive in doing that. Marino Romero, one of the standouts offensively. Well, we will see how the Mexican team responds out of this break in the action. Again, Tim James with you live on CBC Sports. I was about to say U Sports because typically that's where I broadcast for a university here in Canada, Trinity Western University, not too far away from where we are, Simon Fraser University. But if you'd like to reach out, you have anything to add to the broadcast, you can tell that I'm flying solo here. You can send me a message, dial up Instagram, and you can find my username timjamesmedia.ca. Check the story for a photo of some of the Mexican fans. You can also send me a message, and we will try to read that out during this broadcast. 3-point lead for Barbados, back underway out of that Mexican timeout. Romero going to work 2 blockers up. Gooding will take this one. In system, Barbados going to work. Pierre will launch that into the net. Couple of blockers going up for Mexico, but Pierre makes the attack error, and it's a point for Mexico coming out of that timeout to draw within 2 points. Now Figueroa will go back for his second rotation serving. 3 attackers at the net for Mexico. Gallen will pick up the point for Barbados. Once again, a 3-point lead. Here's the captain, Pierre Gill. Getting the serve across. Figueroa doing a nice job of staying off of the net. John able to dig that ball out of the back row. Now with that tip. Here's John from the 3-meter line. The block going up. The coverage is there for Barbados. They'll try again to John. He's going to tip this one in this time. Diving forward was the setter with Cruz Figueroa able to keep the rally alive. But miscommunication there as Enrico Brown was staying off the net, gets the set up, but couldn't get the point. Take another look here. It's Gooding, goes to Brown. And just miscommunication as he overshot that middle attack. Romero, who is a threat from the back row, rotates to position 1 and picks up an ace. Now back-to-back points for the Mexicans and a chance to tie up this set at 11. Take another look here with Gooding back in position 6. You can tell on this serve and just misjudges the balls of libero. We'll see if Romero goes to a similar spot on the court. Goes to a different spot, doesn't matter. He'll pick up the ace. 3 straight points for Mexico, and we are tied at 11 in the opening set. And now Barbados taking a timeout as we are tied at 11. It was 10 serving 7 for Barbados. Just a few minutes ago, a timeout called, the momentum switches, and the Mexicans have come right back, and we are tied at 11. Still to come on this day number 2 of the 2026 NORCECA U19 Boys Continental Cup. We have the host team, the Canadians. They'll be playing in this beautiful red court, Terraflex setup. And they will be challenging Costa Rica, a team that fell in straight sets to Mexico yesterday, looking to bounce back in this tournament. The top 4 teams will advance to the World Championship next year. That is the big prize. Here's John. He'll launch this out, and the momentum will continue for Mexico. So it was Mexico, when they called a timeout, they were able to score the first point after. Barbados calls a timeout, and they drop the point in this case. 4 straight points for Mexico with Romero serving. And again, he is a threat from behind the 3-meter line. Setter in the back row right now, so 3 attackers at the net for Mexico. There's an aggressive tip, popped up. Oviedo able to get there as the libero wearing the green jersey for Mexico. Here's a right side attack, big block. You can hear that up here in row number 11 at the gym in SFU. That comes back at John. And after a couple of bounces on the Barbados side, this will be sent over the net and out of play. Point for Mexico. 13 serving 11 in the first set. Whatever Coach Jose Lanz said in that timeout, it got the job done. Romero, serving aggressive, picks up his 3rd ace of the match. He is such a treat to watch. Offensively, from behind the service line. Barbados now needs to regroup. Still 1 timeout remaining, should they need to use it. Gooding gets under this one. Set over to the left side. Gael launches it out of play. 6-point run for Mexico. What is the answer? John Stewart, head coach of Barbados, standing up with his hands on his hips, looking at a deep serve receive, waiting for Romero, who has been on fire from behind the service line. Gooding with a great first ball. This is going to be sent off the block, picked up by Figueroa. Out of system, Romero going over to the left side. That's going to be redirected off the block, but picked up by the setter. Now this is tight and launched out of play. Kellen Applewhite will be charged with an attack error. Timeout by Barbados. Since that last timeout, it's 5 straight points for Mexico. Again, a similar story to what we saw yesterday when Barbados was playing Canada, where the teams for the first probably 20 points are exchanging points. Canada making some errors, but eventually they found their system. And they took that opening set and then the next 2 sets as well, with Canada improving to 1-0 as the tournament host. Barbados looking to bounce back here after a second timeout. Romero will continue to serve, and this is great when you have somebody serving so strong. You do imagine there is the chance that they're going to get the odd error, but you have to look at how effectively they serve. It's not just aces. He does have 3 aces. Romero, he's not iced here. Another great serve. That launches up into the second section, the upstairs here at the gym at SFU. Romero is locked in. No more timeouts for Barbados. It's a 6-point lead for Mexico. Deep serve receive. Gooding, no chance. Again, that goes up to the second deck. What can we say about what we are seeing from Mexico? Back-to-back points out of that most recent timeout, Romero. This time, Barbados able to run an attack. Scramble now. It'll be the center sending it over on third ball. That was Brown. A middle run, and it's an attack error that will finally end the momentum as Ibarra goes into the net. But Romero can take a break and rest that arm as he was busy from behind the service line. Standing serve gets across. Figueroa going over to the left side. That's Gonzalez picking up the kill out of the left side. So the middles for Mexico will rotate front to back. Diego Ibarra now to serve. Ramirez, he is the front middle, wearing the goggles for Mexico. Kyle from outside of the court. Figueroa, big push over to the pin. Gooding, rather it's Yearwood now, gets underneath that one. Change up at the libero position for Barbados. Here's Brown. Figueroa pushes to the pin, couple blockers up, no touch, and a point for Barbados. That attack error coming off the hand of Gonzalez. Callan sending the ball over. Now Brown over to Kyle. Nice dig in the back. Brown, the center, able to get there. Now it's a back row run going off the block. 3 blockers are going up. Barbados is going to score. An aggressive take, the captain, Pierre Gill, with the kill for Barbados. They are behind by 5 points. They can turn the momentum here. Mexico still with 1 timeout remaining. But perhaps I jinxed them as that ball sent out a play on the serve. Preciado now serving for Mexico. Preciado. Couple of blockers up, reaching forward. Romero, was he able to get there? No, the official says that's not the case. Kyle will go out. One of the changes here, if you're not familiar watching with these international rules, is there are fewer whistles. No obvious whistles. When it comes to a service error, it's very clearly that was not in and the play is dead. And so the referees won't blow that down. That's different than what we see, say, in university volleyball here in Canada, where there are more whistles just to signify an official end to the play. Different style, but you have some of those officials who do the university volleyball also helping out here this week for the 2026 NORCECA U19 Boys Continental Cup. Gonzalez trying to get that over Romero. Now that would have been an impressive play. The block going up for Barbados, able to shut that one down, and I see about 3 fans for Barbados. They are dancing. They've got the flags making some noise because this set is not over yet. Again, that would have been an incredible play. Trying to connect with Gonzalez and Romero. Here's Romero picking up the kill, and as you may notice, there's been a change at the center position with Rodriguez now in there for Figueroa. And Rodriguez picking up the assist. He is in the back row. Ramirez to serve. We'll see him play defense potentially on this rally. No libero out there. There's the tip by Brown, hoping for a touch, not the case, as the first referee immediately signals that went out clean. 23 serving 16 in the opening set. Mexico drawing close here. And remember, earlier on in this one, it was 10-7 for Barbados. A timeout was taken and momentum switched. Setter to the back row for Barbados. Enrico Brown. Float serve. A little too much power on that reception. And the Mexican team unable to corral that ball. A couple of substitutions coming up for Mexico as they go back toward what they had when they started this matchup. Preciado returning to the floor. Figueroa returning to take over setting duties. Figueroa over to Romero. All kinds of power against two blockers, and it'll be Barbados called on the net, so it doesn't even matter how flashy that hit was. Barbados will give up the point, and here we are, set point. And the public address announcer, Allie, making her way down as is typical here. Trying to get the crowd pumped up for his potential set point. Some of the Mexican fans standing up. But they will not take the set, at least not yet. 19 serving 24. No points to give for Barbados. All eyes on the captain for the team wearing yellow. Pierre Gill launching that ball across. Figueroa over to Romero, looking to finish that line shot, and he does. It is a 6-point victory for Mexico. They were behind early on, down by 3, but a timeout was called and momentum switched, and Mexico will take this set against Barbados. Stay with us. You are watching the 2026 NORCECA U19 Boys Continental Cup, and we are live on CBC Sports. Welcome back to beautiful British Columbia. We are in the city of Burnaby, atop Burnaby Mountain, the home of Simon Fraser University. And this is the home of the 2026 NORCECA U19 Boys Continental Cup. My name is Tim James, privileged to have the call for the Group A action in the preliminary round. Thank you so much for joining us. If you'd like to reach out, you can find me on Instagram. Send a message to timjamesmedia.ca. You can also see some of the posts before this one got all started. And the Mexican fans, they have impressed, wearing the luchador masks. Barbados also with some support here. It's great to see this international play here, again at the NORCECA U19 Boys Continental Cup. The teams seeing a bit of rain in the Metro Vancouver area earlier on today. That's kind of the joke around here that, yeah, in Vancouver, in Burnaby, it rains a fair amount, and that's what we had earlier on. It's a cloudy sky outside right now. The sun is still up, still bright, but not an ideal day. We've had some beautiful weather over the last few days, and today it did change. So again, thank you so much for joining us. Mexico taking that opening set 25-19. Romero with 10 points in that opening set. Well, that's not a big surprise. And from behind the service line, Romero, he went on a run. He had 5 aces in that run. So he has been fun to watch as we get set for the second set between Mexico and Barbados, and still to come tonight on CBC Sports. It will be the host team, Canada, taking on Costa Rica. And the Costa Ricans hoping to turn things around after falling to Mexico in the first match yesterday. A very good, a very talented Mexican side. Barbados, the team wearing yellow on the right side of the screen once again. The Mexicans in the white jerseys, black shoulders, black numbers and letters. It'll be Figueroa getting us underway. Yearwood is in as the libero right now for Barbados. Didn't start this match, started yesterday. And Callan going to work with the left side, but he's going to be off the mark and a point for Mexico. The fans from Barbados, they're standing up right now. They've got a horn. Hoping to try to change the energy. Change it back to what we saw at the start of this set, as Barbados was up early. Callan from outside of the court delivers that to position 6. Now Figueroa. This is a back row run. Gonzalez hoping to tag the line, and he doesn't. So back-to-back points. Pierre. Now Figueroa had to stay off of the net. Nice middle run, however, with Ibarra picking up the kill as the middle in the front right now. Oviedo, meantime, at the libero position. Is in right now. And here's Romero. Let's see what he can do from behind the service line. 5 aces, make that 6 aces with Yearwood diving over to his right. Coach John Stewart trying to come up with an answer, switching his libero in this match. Yearwood, you can see him just a little late coming over to his right as that ball hooked. Where's Romero going to go this time? Maybe to John. No, it'll go back to Yearwood. Nice pass, gets that to Brown. Over to John now, who's just playing in the back row, the block going up. And this is going to hop over to row number 2, right in front of the Barbados fans. And speaking of Barbados fans, we also have Sheridan sending us a note. And Sheridan saying, hey, I'm watching right now and supporting my son, Joshua Ashby. So Sheridan, thank you so much for joining us. Joshua Ashby, one of the older players, rather one of the younger players, I should say, on the team for Barbados. Tip inside by Gonzalez. As the momentum continues, again, a run for Romero from behind the service line. And he has 1 ace in this set, 6 aces in total. And 7 kills so far tonight. John with the attack from the left side from outside of the court. Brown giving that back to John. Roll shot, taking out the setter, so out of system. This is Romero over to the right side. Huge block with John getting up there alongside his setter. Rather his middle, I should say. That was Ja'Cory Davis getting up there. Nonetheless, big Barbados point. Davis off the serve. This going to be launched down the line, and that's it. As Barbados is hoping to build some momentum, not going to do it on this case, as the middles go front to back on the Mexican side. A deep serve receive, giving some respect to what Diego Ibarra can offer. Yearwood the libero in this serve receive. This brings up Callan Applewhite. He is one of the older players on the team. Yearwood. Second ball over to John, who was hanging in the air. Figueroa will get one piece of it, but John will pick up the kill for Barbados. Callan sends that ball to position 6. Mishandled by Romero. Gonzalez from behind the 3-meter line drops that in. Brown. And John with the attack error goes into the net point for Mexico to break some of that momentum Barbados was building. Here's Preciado, who played most of the first set. He was part of a double substitution that also brought out the setter, Figueroa. Nice delivery on the serve. John able to make an attack, but sends that out of play. And just in case you missed that, it was Jose Lanz, the coach for Mexico, also signaling that went out of play, no touch. Back-to-back points for Mexico. Brown, the setter for Barbados, he's up at the net. Now Brown, there's a chance where he's a tall guy, potentially could have made an attack on 2-ball. Instead, goes over to Joshua Ashby, and we know he has support watching online right now. Ashby picking up the kill. John to serve. Figueroa from the 3-meter line with a back set going over to Preciado, who picks up the kill. Coming from the back court. Nice delivery, and Mexico now leading 9, serving 5, and up 1-0. Gonzalez with the delivery. Here's Pierre going off of hands, popped up by Gonzalez. Figueroa, big push over to the pin. Romero sends that a diagonal that was dug up by Yearwood. And that will just be an errant hit. Applewhite will want that one back, as Mexico, the first team to hit double digits in this second set. Up 10, serving 5. Gonzalez, big toss, put some spin on the serve. There's the 2-ball tip by Brown, the setter. Now we'll try to regroup. Brown on the move from the 3-meter line. Gets that over to Pierre. A couple of blockers there. Picked up by Oviedo, the libero. Now Gonzalez out of the backcourt. Drops this one in. Didn't have to put too much power into that one. And I don't think that's exactly what he wanted. But sets it over. And it turns into a kill. Barbados taking the first time out in this second set. As last set, it was the first time out that switched momentum, but it was Mexico taking that opening timeout. At 10, serving 7 for Barbados. And you can see some of the flags below on this broadcast. Barbados to the bottom right, the Mexican flags, they're showing off as well. Ali doing the public address here at SFU. Passionate fans here. It's a great vibe. And if you were watching in Metro Vancouver, please do join us. More volleyball to come, as this is only day 2 of the tournament. Day 3 of the preliminary round, we'll see a potentially big one with Mexico versus Canada. That's at 8 o'clock Pacific time. Gonzalez will go into the net. So Barbados will rotate, and going back is Joshua Ashby. Ashby wearing the blue sneakers, sending that ball across. But a broken down play, all starting with Oviedo, the libero, who taps himself on the chest saying, "My bad." We'll see how Mexico regroups in this serve-receive. Back-to-back points for Barbados, drawing within 4. Figueroa, back set. It's a nice dig by Ashby. But it will be a point for Mexico. Now Ashby will head off and switch places with the libero. Liam Yearwood. Now back for his first serve of the second set is Ramirez. Ramirez in the middle position in the back. Ibarra, the front middle for Mexico. And Ibarra getting in the way of Figueroa, who eventually was able to make that set on 2-ball. This is going to go down the line. Preciado with a nice dig. And Gonzalez running out of the back and scores as that redirects. A couple of blockers up for Barbados, but another back row kill for the Mexican team. And despite some confusion on that play with Ibarra and Figueroa bumping into each other, the Mexicans will score the point. Big push over to Pierre, looking to go down the line. The antenna's moving, and this will be a Mexican point. 3 straight points for Mexico. And now they are double Barbados. 14 serving 7. Barbados still with 1 timeout remaining. First timeout was taken when it was 11 serving 5. Yearwood with the first ball. Back row run, and that will get the job done. Callan picking up the kill for Barbados. And the setter will rotate to the back row. Take a look at Callan on the right side of the screen there. That block looking to take cross court. He had some room to go down the line. Popped up by Yearwood. There's Pierre. Sends that to position 6. Drops Gonzalez down to a knee, and a kill from the left side for Barbados. Back-to-back points for the boys in yellow. Still 1 timeout remaining for Barbados. Will they need to use it here, or can they build some momentum? And watch for Romero over to the left side, but this will be Ibarra. A set to the middle instead. I said, watch out for the outside hitter, but no, Figueroa said, I got something else for you, Tim. And this was a nice play. A big side out as Figueroa will rotate to the back row. Figueroa back for his second serve of this set. Backing up Yearwood, claps his hand in frustration. Some of the signboards taken out there from Callan, who was diving to keep that ball alive. Now Figueroa back over to the right side. Preciado couldn't finish. Callan with his second ball. This is going to go off of the block. Back set. Here comes Callan, delaying there. A couple of blockers were there, including the middle Ibarra. Over to Romero, sends that hard down the line to score, and he continues to pad his stats as the top attacker so far tonight with his 14th kill. And now a timeout by Barbados as they were down by 7 points. And potentially it could be a big day tomorrow. Well, every match is so valuable in the preliminary round. But if we were to see this trend continue, if it was to be Mexico winning today, Barbados losing, then you have the 2 top teams potentially. Mexico versus if Canada is still undefeated. That will be an exciting one regardless of whatever happens later on today, Mexico and Canada. But you could also have on the other side, Barbados fighting for their lives. Remember, the 4th place team in the pool was essentially eliminated from qualifying for the World Cup. If you make it at least to 3rd place, you will cross over and play the 2nd place team in the other pool. And so a lot of things still to decide today, tomorrow. We're having some fun here at the NORCECA U19 Boys Continental Cup. Ibarra going up for the block, and that will be successful. So out of the timeout, it will be a Mexican point. Yearwood. Brown. Callan redirects that off the block as Ibarra, looking at his hands after, had to do a better job of getting your hands in the way and not allowing that wipe that came from the left side attack on the Barbados side. It's a 7-point deficit for Barbados. Middle run by Ibarra, and he is shut down with Davis putting up the big block for Barbados. Yesterday, that was one of the highlights for Costa Rica, putting up the block and shutting down that Mexican attack. Play is completely blown by that defense from Mexico. Ibarra talking to Gonzalez as the Mexicans will try to figure out what happened there with the ball just dropping. An absolutely playable ball. Now Pierre Gill delivers that ball over. This one will go in, side out for Mexico, and let's see if they can ride some momentum. And guess who's going back to serve? The man who has 6 aces. You heard me right, 6 aces in this match. He has 1 in this set, 5 in the first. Romero, big toss. Spin on the serve, Yearwood does a nice job for Barbados, taking that ball in the serve receive, and this will be sent down the line. And this is a huge side out for Barbados. They're able to get an attack off, get the point. Romero, keep in mind, is still a threat from the back row. Off of the Davis serve, Figueroa. Preciado coming through. Will pick up the point and side out for Mexico. Romero still in the back row. The middles will rotate front to back on the Mexico side. But Ibarra, as he was going back to serve, instead will be subbed out. And Zua will come in. So Ibarra checking off Anzua. A service substitution with his team up by 6 points. As we are getting to the late stages of the second set. Anzua, though, will be charged with his service error, and he will be taken out with Oviedo coming in as the libero, who will set up in the serve receive for Mexico. 3 players in the serve receive for Mexico. This ball going to Romero. Figueroa back over to Preciado. Dug up, though, in position 6 by Pierre Gill. Figueroa. Preciado. And that will be last touch off of Barbados, point for Mexico. Double substitution for Mexico. Rodriguez will now serve for Mexico. He's got the green on the shoes. Put some spin on that serve, easily handled by Barbados, going to run with the middle attack. And there will be no touch as Ashby will just launch this one out of play. 7-point lead for Mexico, leading 1-0 after taking that opening set by 6 points. Brown, he was off on that set as that was going over to the Mexican side, and they just sent it back over. Yearwood, Brown, Ashby shut down. Scramble on Barbados' side. The music somehow going. I think they thought the rally was over. That is not the case. Right side attack popped up, kept alive. Brown is going to be tight to the net. Goes into a joust, wins this one back onto the Mexican side. Romero is going to send this over deep. Popped up by Barbados after one contact. Rodriguez going over to Gonzalez, looking to go down the line, sends this out of play, and a point for Barbados. Are they hoping for a touch here? The fingers are pointing. Referee 2, what's he going to say? Let's take another look here. But look at that play coming from Pierre to keep that ball alive, and that's going to be sent out of play. Not sure what they were claiming exactly. Maybe that went off the shoe of the defender? I don't think so. Point for Barbados. Romero with the first contact. Here's Gonzalez from the 3-meter line. Sends that cross court. Roll shot. Dug up by Romero. Gonzalez now basically turned into a one-on-one. And Brown, he's limping here, and he may have to come out, as it looked like his ankle was a bit shook. Let's see how he goes into position here. He's able to make the set, not a jump set, standing. And now as play is coming down, Let's see how he does here. As Brown, the setter for Barbados, showing initially some discomfort with his ankle when he came down. He's having a discussion with John Stewart, the head coach. But he actually looks to be okay, so I'm not sure what that was. Maybe just a bit of a slip. Doesn't appear to be in pain. Gonzalez tipping this one. Brown taken out, so out of system. Barbados going to work. Pierre with 2 blockers up, sends that cross court. Rodriguez able to stay off the net. Couple of blockers there, and that will be a kill. Velez, who subbed in just a few points ago, picks up the kill for Mexico as the Mexicans drawing closer and closer to taking this second set, and in a more convincing fashion than what we saw in the first. Gonzalez, Yearwood, able to get that ball tipped over and out of play by Brown. He takes the jersey to the face, wipes away some sweat, and perhaps tries to wipe away some frustration. As Barbados has been behind this entire set, different from what we saw in the first with a decent opening. Here's Brown trying to tip that one. We haven't seen him be too offensive despite being one of the taller players, and this will be delivered across by Velez, who picks up the kill. 25-16, the final in this second set. Convincing win for Mexico. Will they remain undefeated? Mexico up 2-0 against Barbados. Stay with us. You are watching the 2026 NORCECA U19 Boys Continental Cup on CBC Sports. Welcome back to the top of Burnaby Mountain, Simon Fraser University, the host site for the 2026 NORCECA U19 Boys Continental Cup. My name is Tim James, and hey, at the bottom of your screen, you can see the fans from Mexico. They're having some fun because the Mexican team is up 2-0. They are undefeated so far at 1-0. 3 matches, of course, in the preliminary round, and then the top team from the preliminary round will get a bye. It'll be 2 versus 3, and we'll cross the pools over. Then it's fun because you're starting to see players that you haven't seen before. And really, that's the nature of this tournament. It's not like these teams necessarily grow up playing together with just the unit. I mean, you take a look at Team Canada, for example. They had to do an online application, video application that coaches would look at. They had about 80 to 90 applicants across Canada. You can't get them all together and do that typical high school tryout. You're also looking at the physical attributes, trying to make that, and that may be the case, of course, with Barbados and Mexico as well, that these players are coming from different parts of the country, but coming together, trying to build that chemistry in a short amount of time, representing their nation. There is some pride here. As you can see, the Mexican fans at the bottom, they've got the flags, but hey, the Barbados fans, they're bringing the attention too. I can see them over to my left. I think you might be able to see it just at the bottom left of your screen. Some of the fans, they've got the flags, passion, and hey, just kind of my personal favorite. I think Barbados has the most impressive flag, I'd say, out of all the nations, but what does that say? That's just my design side talking. It's Barbados and Mexico, match number 3 of the day. Still to come, Canada and Costa Rica. And that is at 8 o'clock Pacific. Thank you so much for joining us wherever you are watching from, whether it be Mexico, whether it be Barbados. And you can send me a message if you'd like to. And we had the mother of Joshua Ashby check in earlier on. You can find me at timjamesmedia.ca. on Instagram. Send a message there. You can also see kind of a behind-the-scenes look at some of the action here, as I'll try to document that. You can find out more information, of course, checking out NORCECA_info. That is the username that is essentially running this tournament, the 2026 NORCECA U19 Boys Continental Cup. Barbados now on the left side to start off this one. It's a must-win set with a setter to the back row. Brown getting us underway. Figueroa, middle run. Here's Callan, tipping this one. Preciado going up against Burkett, picks up the kill. Just a lone blocker up for Barbados. Burkett couldn't stop that one. Nice hustle you can see by Oviedo coming forward. Now Figueroa with his first serve of the third set. Figueroa taken out of system. Mexico going to work Romero. He wasn't going to tag the line there, even behind some of the text that's written on this Terraflex floor. It reads Continental Championship, an impressive floor here at Simon Fraser University. Figueroa, one hand, turn it to adjust to the net. Oviedo was there, but pops this up and back over and drops out of play. Back-to-back points for Barbados. Pierre, one of the youngest players on the Barbados side, getting that ball across. This will be sent down the line, and Yearwood no chance with a right side attack coming from Mexico. We are tied at 2. And here's Romero with 6 aces in this match. Let's see what he can do. Let's see if he can build some momentum from behind the service line. We've seen it before, especially in that opening set. Brown. Over to Callan. This will be a big side out if Barbados can get it. They're not going to get it here, though. Point for Mexico as Pierre was diving over to his right. Romero will go back for his second serve of the set. Mexico taking the opening set 25-19. The second set more convincingly 25-16. Here we are, 3 serving 2. Back onto the Mexican side. Figueroa. That'll be launched in. Armendariz picking up the kill, coming in this third set. So we didn't see him in the first set or second set. Three straight points for Mexico. Now a 2-point advantage for the team wearing white. Again, they're on the right side of your screen right now. Brown, trying to track that one down. Collides into John. Hope they're both okay. Even the Mexican coach, Jose Lanz, coming over to check on the players. And we do have one down. As that's Brown, who earlier on had a landing on his ankle, which I thought was pretty rough. At least he sold it briefly. But he's been able to shake that off. He's walking cleanly on the ankle. He appears to be okay, just moving a little slower than what we've seen. So we'll keep an eye on Brown. He's taken a couple of bumps in this one. Big match, though, for Barbados. 3 matches in the preliminary round. Barbados 0-1 coming into today. And there is ace number 7 for Romero. Five straight points for Mexico. Romero. Good power on this serve once again. Picks up another ace. Yearwood looking over to his coach, and I think we're going to see a timeout. Looking over at John Stewart, and yes, that will be the first timeout taken this set. Romero. Look at that power, that control. Picking up the ace. He's not making a lot of mistakes. He's got 7 aces, and we saw that huge run that he went on in the opening set. And that was about the time the momentum started to shift, because again, it was Barbados up in that first set, 10 serving 7. Mexico would be the first team to call a timeout in this match. And whatever was said by Jose Lanz, the coach of Mexico. The momentum shifted. Had a brief discussion, and I mean very brief, with Jose Lanz yesterday as I was looking for the starters, and he calls over Armendariz, who is English-speaking, who helped to translate exactly what I was looking for. Don't speak Spanish, unfortunately. Learning sign language, that's my current project. Brown is going to tip this one near the first referee and out of play, so it's another point for Mexico. Seven-point run. Brown. Can they get this side out? Callan not going to do that. Block going up, and there we go. 3 blockers once again. We've seen that time and time again from Mexico. A different look than what we've seen from the other teams in Group A. The triple block. Romero wearing number 18, part of an 8-point run for Mexico. Another powerful serve. This one dug up well by Pierre, the captain of the team. Now Figueroa taken out, so out of system. Romero going over to Preciado, who sends that out. So it's an attack error, really a playable ball. That one should have gone in, but it's a mistake for Mexico, breaking that momentum. Again, an 8-point run comes to an end. Figueroa had to get low for that one. Brown taken out, so out of system. Here's Callan. Sends that hard down the line. Acosta couldn't get under the ball to keep it alive. Just a hard line shot. Acosta just putting up his hands kind of in protection mode. So back-to-back points for Barbados. Figueroa. That one will go in. Ampran with the kill. Different look for Mexico in his third set. As we're seeing them use some of those bench players. Up by 6 points. Ibarra putting up the block for Mexico. He's one of the starters. He's stuck around. An excellent block. Back-to-back points for Mexico. They're now up by 7 points. Here's Brown. Another big block. Ibarra, part of that block. Big smile on the faces of the Mexican team, and let's see how Barbados can respond here. If they can get back to some of that energy we saw in the opening set. They were smiling and happy. I can see some of the Barbados fans standing right now, and well, that will help, as that ball will be sent into the net. Here's Callan with his team looking at a 7-point deficit in the third set. Romero, first ball. Brown from behind the 3-meter line pushes over to the pin. The block going up back onto the Mexican side, but tracked at the net. Armendariz doing a nice job coming in here in the third set. We saw him in a block just a few moments ago. In this case, tracks that at the net. Puts it back on the Barbados side. Acosta watches that one drop. Preciado. Preciado, one of the tallest players on the Mexican team, gets this ball across. Back in position 6, Acosta able to dig the ball. Barbados going to the attack once again. Here's John, whips that ball. Sent out, no touch. 3 straight points for Mexico. Now up by 10 in the third set. Still 1 timeout for Barbados remaining. And we are going to see a substitution. Kyle Greenidge. He's already seen action in this tournament. Now Greenidge, let's see what he can do. This ball's going to go away from him, though. Scramble on Barbados' side. They do make 3 contacts. That goes between the antenna. 10-point lead right now for Mexico. Make it a 9-point lead, as that is an attack error. Can see a few more fans coming here to Simon Fraser University with the Canadian match still to come. Now the second referee looking for some clarification on who's going to serve the ball here. As remember, Kyle Greenidge just subbed in, so some confusion maybe where he was supposed to be on the court. They eventually figured it out there without being called out of rotation. And Greenidge will go back to serve once again. Seems they got the right spots. John Stewart, the head coach, in a brief discussion with Yearwood, the libero. Figueroa. Nice block for Barbados. Brown and Ashby, part of that big block. And the team coming together, as you saw just moments ago, showing that energy. Something I'm talking about from what we saw in the first set. They were playing loose. They were having fun. Figueroa now. This will be a back row run. And Romero, when you need a point for Mexico, oh, he is reliable with the back row kill. Double substitution for Mexico, so a change up at the center position. Figueroa getting high fives at the corner of the screen, you can see, joining his teammates at the side. Armendariz getting the serve across, a couple of blockers up. Acosta. Now Brown on the move, pushes over to the pin. That's going to be launched out of play, no touch, point for Mexico. 17 serving 8. Armendariz, you know, I don't know if he knew that he was going to be serving here. He was just back serving. I think he got a bit lost. Again, another team not called for an out of rotation. They eventually figure it out. But that one's going to be launched and glances off the Lacoste signboard at the back. And second and final timeout for Barbados taken in this third set. Will it be the final set? Can Barbados come back and avoid falling to 0-2 in this tournament after a straight sets loss yesterday to Canada and now up against a very good Mexican side? Barbados started off well in this match. Timeout was called. Romero started to heat up. Difference maker for Mexico, but that's not to take anything away from the entire team. Preciado with 9 points. Romero with 19 at this point. 19 points. Leading the way for Barbados is Callan with 7 points. Here's Brown. He's going to be tight to the net, turning into a joust, but Ibarra going up and will send this last touch off of Barbados. Point for Mexico. So Mexico will score the first point out of that timeout. Armendariz will continue to serve. Armendariz put some spin on the serve. Barbados forced to attack out of system. Mexico in system. Romero. Not his hardest swing. Not too much pace on that. Let's see if they go back. No, Armendariz will now set over to the right side. So out of system for Mexico. And they'll pick up the kill with Velez, who didn't start this one. Scoring from the right side. Armendariz will continue to serve. He picks up an assist. Again, the setter has changed for Mexico. Figueroa is not in right now. Armendariz with the ace. Rodriguez is the setter currently for Mexico, and you have to wonder if things continue this way, will we see Figueroa return to the floor? Or is he done for the night? Remendriz, as that was taken back and perhaps a bit too deep. That ball might have been heading out of play, but Kyle ends up taking the ball. And there's the captain of Barbados, Pierre, with the kill. As they try to build something, they try to build anything. Even if it's just momentum going into tomorrow. Costa Rica is the opponent tomorrow for Barbados. Ashby. There's Pierre making the attack. Mendriz. Too much power on that as that comes back over, and Barbados will end up picking the point. We talked about some rust yesterday, both in the Mexico-Costa Rica match and the Canada-Barbados match, as it was the first match of the tournament. All these teams trying to get familiar with each other, trying to get familiar with their opponents. Like, how much scouting can you do? It's not like these teams are playing, say, at a university and they're playing one school one week and one school the other week. Then it's easy to do a lot of video watching. In this case, talking to the coach of Canada, Adam Schreimer, he said, maybe we'll do some video. Maybe watch this broadcast, rewatch it once we get later in the tournament, depending on how these teams do, and which teams advance and where you find yourselves as we move into the next round. We are still in the preliminary round. The top 3 teams will move on. And the 4th place team will move to the relegation round. Still more volleyball to play. You come all this way, you will get to play some volleyball. Romero going hard, cross court. Yearwood, a nice dig in the back as the libero for Barbados. 11-point lead right now for Mexico. Romero going to work once again, make it a 12-point lead. As the top gun for Mexico picks up the kill. And take a look. So he takes his approach here, turns into a one-on-one. Romero adding to his total. Yearwood misplays this. Pierre will take it from outside of the court. No attack made. It's a free ball. Showtime for Mexico. Figueroa going over to Preciado. Good connection with a back set. Figueroa, who just recently subbed back in, looking fresh here. And it is now match point. Ali is trying to get the fans going here. You can see some of the Mexican fans at the bottom of your screen standing up. Figueroa, the setter, sends this ball across. Here's Brown. He'll be tight to the net and actually send this over to the Mexico side. Barbados will try to reset with a nice delivery and a kill. Callan keeps Barbados alive for now. His action shifted to the other side. There was separation in the block, and that made it easy. Figueroa, Preciado, he will end things off. Mexico will take this set convincingly, 25-12, and win in straight sets over Barbados. Mexico remains undefeated heading into the final day of the preliminary round. And up next for Mexico will be a tough test. It will be Canada, but will Canada still be undefeated come tomorrow? That is the question, with Canada and Costa Rica still to come on day number 2 of the 2026 NORCECA U19 Boys Continental Cup. Barbados, a team that was beat here tonight, but a team that was showing life early on. They were showing a good vibe. The fans were having fun. This was a team that was up 10 serving 7 in the opening set. A timeout was called and momentum shifted. Romero started to heat up. He went on a serving run in that opening set, and Romero was one of the difference makers here on this Wednesday night in Burnaby. Again, it's Mexico winning in straight sets over Barbados. Stay with us on CBC Sports. As still to come, it's the host team, Canada, taking on Costa Rica. It'll be myself, Tim James, with that. So do stay with CBC Sports if you are watching online. We appreciate you joining us. This match started at 6 o'clock Pacific. It ended at 7:08 Pacific. Total time, 1 hour and 8 minutes. We do hope you enjoyed this broadcast. Time for us to say goodbye. For Director of Communications, Jackie Skender, and the whole crew at Volleyball Canada, as well as Mike producing this broadcast, my name is Tim James, and at 7:10 Pacific in Burnaby, we say goodnight from Simon Fraser University.